Ladies and gentlemen, GERI PETITO.
I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. GERI PETITO taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
When you don't know just what to do.
Just what to do, just what to do.
If what you're feeling is really true.
Is really true, is it really true?
Just keep your ideas safe and sound.
Safe and sound, safe and sound.
That's exactly how change is found.
Change is found, change is found. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. And in time, this too shall pass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. GERI PETITO taught the class. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. Loves the answer, the greener grass. I'm not an addict, I'm just an ass. One day at a time, free at last.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the GERI PETITO Show on HamiltonRadio.net. So this is only my second time doing this kind of streaming show. My guest is really cool. He would have been live in studio, but with all that's going on, we thought this would be best. I'm going to have him introduce himself, but then I'm going to read his poems. So don't tell them too much. Just tell them who you are.
I'm Tony Dean.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. So listen, I know that was very hard for you not to go into
Very
detail.
hard. Yes.
All right. So I'm going to read your poem. Okay, kiddo?
All right, let's go for it.
Here we go. Tony Dean. Someone reached out on Facebook one day saying, let's connect. I thought, sure, okay. Tony Dean's the guy. Doo-wop radio's his scene. A broadcasting DJ and sound production are keen. The East Coast Music Hall of Fame nominated Tony for DJ, broadcaster, web personality. Tony, you, my friend, will score. Don K. Reed is his hero. A radio icon is he. From 71 to 2005 on FM radio, he'd be. Tony spent 30 years as a desk DJ. That's right. I'm sure he will explain what that means tonight. He used to play bass and also coined the term bass. Used to play bass, right? I always get confused when to use that. All right.
I'm not official. All right.
He used to play bass and also coined the term bass players do it deeper, which Tony can affirm. Do you remember the song that Barry Mann sang? 1961's the year who put the bump rang. Tony's stepdad sang bass. That's right, in that song. I was a kid growing up, always sang that song. Tony's dad filled in on drums. 1960 was the year on American Bandstand for all the world to hear. Tony plays rhythm guitar, just a little, I was told. Again, please do explain while my breath I hold. A little bit about you that I'd like to share. As far as the facts you gave me, kind of boring, I swear. Born and raised north of 78. How about a town near the Garden State? No one's ever said that about where they grew up. Are you hiding out? Were you in a lineup? In high school, you played sports. A secret is its name. Are you hiding out? Come on. Are you incognito? Is Tony your real name? What kind of sports? Wait, let me guess. A little of that and a little of this. You have a beautiful wife. Sandy is her name. Her and your 5 children really brought you fame. I can't make fun of you no more. I'll tell you why, my friend. February 8, 2009, there's someone you'd befriend. His name is Jesus, our Lord of Lords. Being born again, pick up our swords. I got baptized in 1980, water brought from that sea. Pregnant with my kid to Jerusalem, then led me. So being born again, you and I connect. You are my brother, last time I checked. When you finally leave this world, heaven's gates you'll go through. You will meet God and Jesus. Doo-wop will be playing for you. That's for you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
That was beautiful. Beautiful.
Very excellent.
Ah, so cool. So I want to show everyone a photo because you and I have a few mutual friends in this business, right? Frankie Bizzarro, kudos to him, right? The service he's done for us, right? Michael D'Amore. Okay, we have a lot of friends, but our mutual friend is Cool Bobby B. Okay, love this guy, and he's so cool. just had to say that. So the floor is yours. I know you're dying to speak now. Come on, what do you got to say? Tell everyone really who you are.
All right. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Tony Dean, and I host the Doo-Wop Cruise, Tony Dean's Doo-Wop Cruise, on Friday night on Doo-Wop Radio from 7 to 10 p.m. And also I have a R&B show on the Sounds of Philly Radio on Wednesday, Saturday at 1 o'clock, and Sunday at 8 a.m., all times Eastern. So check them out.
So tell everyone your age.
My age?
Yes, there's a reason why.
Okay, 51.
Okay.
I was born in 1969.
Here you go. So I was born in 61. You were born in 69. Back then it was a big difference, but today it's not. We love doo-wop. We love oldies. We love, this music is the greatest ever. I'm an Elvis fan. Okay, Elvis is number one. I got to say, Michael D. Moore is right up there. All these incredible artists, right? Ken Brady. I mean, Al Contrara, right? Larry Chance. They're all my friends. I love them. Us loving this kind of music is unbelievable. So, but you're keeping it alive incredibly. Talk.
Was there a question?
No, just tell us about what you do with it. No.
All right. So, let's go back to, you brought up Don K. Reed, right? And my stepfather being involved in it, my dad involved in it, my, uncles and aunts and everybody else. The music's all I ever heard. Doo-wop music's all I ever heard, even though I was second generation doo-wopper, and it's before my time. So it got into my blood as I was growing up, and just when Don K. Reed came along, and I spent many a Sunday night in the car, coming back from whether it be family functions or whatever else. Don K. Reed with his soothing voice and that amazing doo-wop in between lulled me to sleep on many of those nights. Rocked me to sleep, and it just got into my soul, and it's what I wanted to do. And he was, I have a lot of people that I could thank for, creating Tony Dean. But, I interviewed Don K. Reed recently, and I told him, you created Tony Dean. I hope you're proud of your creation. So he was the main reason I got into this. And this music has something to it that none of the music that came after it has. Just some sort of power over you when you hear it. And it's just something that just grabs you. And I think, maybe culturally, when you get into the old cars and the shows, there was something that this music kind of turned, kind of got bigger than just the music itself, more so than like the music before it, more so than like the 40s and whatever else, the swing stuff. This stuff kind of culturized, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but like between the car shows and the oldie shows, and it grew bigger than just the music. And maybe it grew bigger after the time period. I wasn't there, but it seems like, once from the revival, when the revival started back in the 70s onward, it became a whole cultural deal, in itself. So I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you a question, because a lot of people ask me this, and honestly, I can't answer it, and I don't know if you can. So do you see doo-wop dying anytime soon? That's a great question. I think tied in a little bit to what I just said, I think because of it's a cultural thing beyond the music itself, I think it may last a little bit longer. Like you got the old cars and the shows, and I think there's going to be, I don't think it's going to be infinite. I don't think it's going to last forever, unfortunately. People are probably hating that I say that. The reality is that people are going to pass. They're going to go, and at some point the music more or less has to go. But I think it'll last a little bit longer because you got the next generations with like I said, the cars and the shows. And there's a whole big deal around it. And you have some of the younger people that are keeping it going. The Michael D. Moores, the Frankie Pizzaros, Cadillac Chris, and Vinny Maduno, and these are young guys that are keeping it going. And as long as that happens,
there should be some staying power a little beyond that generation, this generation, you know, to do it.
Tony,
so.
I hear some background voices. Do you have a volume up of the show behind you somewhere?
I don't. Let's see. Hold on.
Okay. I just heard, like, I could hear a little bit.
All right. Is that better?
Okay. I think so.
Okay.
I think so. So, yeah. So, okay. Like, remember then radio, you know, like keeping it alive and all, and that's where Frankie Bizzarro, you know, I mean, think about all the music, right, that we grew up listening to with because of our parents. You know, I mean, if they were like here today, like, you know, my parents are both gone now. They were late, you know, my dad would have been like 88, you know, 89, but they would not be okay with this music today. You know what I mean? They wouldn't even call it music. Okay. But, but I'm still happy that we're here to still have this music for us because it's music.
Yeah. You know, it's unbelievable. And, you know, it's easy for me to come on and like trash any other kind of music afterwards. And let me tell you, I have 2 teenage boys in the house, and the stuff they play is not only, I don't know if I would consider it even music, but I would consider offensive for the most part.
Yes.
But, you know, beyond forgetting all that for a second, you know, like I said, this music's got the staying power, and it had so many elements to it that it's got, you know, the harmonies, and these guys did all this without effects. I mean, they may have gone into a bathroom, but other than that, there was no special effects. These guys got into a room and they did it. 5-part harmony, you know, and they just put the pieces together, and somebody had an ear, you know, one of them who was a leader had an ear and said, all right, you sing this part, and they put all the pieces together. And if you listen to some of these things, think, you know, I don't, you know, well, we can't play it obviously anyway, but if I brought up Zoom by Vito and the Salutations, they do it a cappella, and just hear how everybody's all over the place in that thing, and it sounds beautiful. Somebody had to arrange those voices, and, you know, they're doing it a cappella, you know, so... you know,
1 second, Tony, hold on. I want to talk Hamilton Radio. We hear some background noise. I'm not sure if it's coming from your end, but I do hear some background noise. Okay, thank you. So, Tony, you know, I've interviewed now close, you know, hundreds of musicians and entertainers, right? Sure. And the newer ones, I would say to them, and they would be live in studio, and I would say to them, guys, sing something for me. Every one of them would say this: wait, right now? Wait, now? Wait, but I don't have the music up yet. What? I'm like, what do you mean? You sing, just sing. Yeah. But the old timers, I don't care if we're eating lunch, okay? I'll be like, hey, come on, sing it. And they start. Ken Brady came to New Jersey, and he's coming back in July to hang out with me, him and his wife. Last summer, I pulled over at gas stations where I knew the people. Ken got out. I'm like, sing it, Ken. And he just sang it on the side of the road to people. Yeah. I mean, so the old time people, they sang it. Yeah. And you're right. They didn't need any props or any of this or in studio, fix this, fix that. Yeah. That's talent.
You know, I interviewed, and probably a lot of people watching this saw it. I interviewed Dennis Dell. One of my first interview shows, and he actually wanted our setup to be such that he was going to perform more so probably than talking. So he wasn't shy at all. I mean, we had some technical issues. I ended up putting in some of his performances, which was fine, but he was fully prepared to just sing it at will, right on the interview. You know, so yeah, these guys, you know, they didn't care. They'll break out a mic anywhere.
Okay, so it's so great. Yeah. I used to say I was born too late because I have the ticket from the Elvis concert that I never made it to because he died when I was 16. So I have that framed in my Elvis room. Okay. Yeah. And I feel like I should have been in a poodle skirt. Like that would have been me. Well, a poodle skirt with a black leather jacket because I was also tough. So yeah,
you'd have been like the Pink Ladies or whatever, right?
That's been like you got it. Yeah. But you know, my heart, that's where my heart is, and yours too, as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they tell me all the time that I have an old soul and I was born too late and all this other stuff. And where I come from, how do I know it? you know, and you know, just the, and I tell people it's not even a matter of liking it or not liking it. It's just part of who I am.
Right.
You know, it's home. If I'm somewhere like before everything was so, before the world was so small and it was all digital, if I would hear an oldie station someplace else away from home, it was home. It felt like home to me, you know, wherever the music was, it was home. So I
don't know if you remember this or not, because again, you were a little bit younger back then, but 98.1, okay, WOGL, that was the oldie station. And it still is, but do you know what year of music they play now?
I'm afraid. What?
Okay, like the 80s and 90s.
And that's
almost died. Like 70s, 80s. I was like, this is not okay with me. This is not oldies. They succumb to the nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of them have. A lot of them have switched it up, and they're, you know, concerned about the masses, and, you know, acting they're a little premature in their moving. So,
you know. So we'll get back to the music. Tell us a little bit about you. So this secret town you're from, can you just tell me? I won't tell anyone. Whisper it. What town are you from?
Morris County. How's that?
Okay. So
I got a lot of kids in school, so I'm trying to keep a little bit of, you know, I got to be careful a little bit.
All right. But you know what I think is really incredible? That you got to interview Don K. Reed.
Oh.
I mean, that is like, I want to ask you about that a little more in detail, but that's like me. I got to interview Elvis Presley's nurse, Marion. And rumor has it that we might have a three-way with me, her, and Priscilla. So fingers crossed for that. So you get it. You get it. So for you to interview Don K. Reed, really?
I mean, I was a nervous wreck, and it's like, you know, you got to keep your composure. I got to talk to him as if he's not that he's nobody, but I mean that he's just a normal guy. And I'm like, you know, inside I'm dying, and I want to ask, you know, I want to just be like, you're the greatest, you know. You gotta, but I got to keep it together. You gotta keep on script, and you know, and he was great. It was funny too because when we opened up the interview, he turned it on me, and he's asking me a million questions about me. But he was great. And he was gracious, and you know, he did seem appreciative. You know that I was enamored by him, and you know why, I don't know. Part of it is, you know, I don't know. You know, I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but you know, he had this fantastic show. He left it on top, but not by his doing. He was forced off.
Okay.
And you know, so now he's an internet jock on wherever he is. You know, I won't give it out if I'm not supposed to say, but he's an internet jock somewhere, and I think maybe he realizes it. You know, maybe it's a little bit. You know, there's a little bit to that. I don't know. It'd be nice to people you meet on the way up, because you're gonna meet the same people on the way down. What was that? A famous honeymooners from the honeymooners? Famous line on the honeymooners. You're
right about that. You know, I want to give a shout out to Larry Chance from the Earls, and there's a reason why. Because I was enshrined December into the 2019 Internet International Hall of Fame. I mean, come on, would I have ever thought that? But one of the reasons was, this is so cool. After the ceremony, I was able to hear some of the feedback from some of the voters from different countries. And the feedback was awesome, made me cry, but this made me crack up laughing. And I reached out to Larry the next day and said, wait till you hear this. And then I reached out to Remember Them Radio and said, you got to hear this, because this is really cool. One of the voters said, if Jerry Petito could get Larry Chance to be interviewed on Remember Them Radio, the same network that named their station after his song Remember Them, she has to be in. They were such a huge Larry Chance, fan, and I was like, that is just so cool. But the coolest part about that for me as well was I got to meet him on my birthday, March 7th. It was like the last night we were out. I got to meet him at a show and hug him, and it was just a highlight. So when you and I look back, and especially like in years to come, God willing, if we get a little older and all, and we look back on all this, it's nothing better, is there?
No, that's great. I mean, coming across people like Charlie Thomas, right? I mean,
Right.
you know, God bless him. He's a little older now, right? And we all love him like he's our grandfather. But he was one of the drifters when they were in that prime, man. And when the Benny King's drifters, and I love all their songs, you know. And he was one of them, you know. He was in that group. So you know, to meet these guys, it's just like it just goes full circle. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, even what's his name? Even the Stylistics,
Yes.
Russell Tompkins Jr. You know, their songs are great, and to meet him, he was just down to earth, gave me all the time in the world. You know, took pictures with me. So
Crazy,
it's
right?
unbelievable. Yeah, you know, and it's unbelievable. You know, I'm like a giddy fan when I show up, and I could keep it together. You know, because I'm Tony Dean on the radio. You know, but I have to. It's hard. You know.
Yeah, I don't have to keep it together. I'm a female, honey. I'm Italian, you know. Oh, I'm not keeping it together. I was like, oh my God, hug me.
You know, so it's hard. It's hard to be professional sometimes and be a fan, you know. But you do what you got to do, you know. It's great.
But even when you keep it together, I bet you still have that smile because I know it just comes out. You know, you can't not be like, hi.
yeah. And I think that kind of like works both ways for me. You know, it gets me in the door, and it also is my I'm a fan. You know, yeah. So my parents paid a lot of money for this smile, so I might as well use it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so great. So tell us now about like the doo-wop cruise and tell us about everything that you're doing right now.
All right, so I got the doo-wop, Tony Dean's doo-wop cruise on doo-wopradio.com, and it's I got the greatest. Well, there's two great time slots for doo-wop radio as far as I'm concerned. Doo-wop music, Friday night and Sunday night. To me, those are the two best slots. And I came on the station and I was on at 10 o'clock, and I felt like it started a little late. And I built up a decent following, but then it worked out where I was able to move down to 7 p.m. And I'm like, this is it. You know, this is what I came here for, to get into that slot. And it worked out great. And I saw the viewers go up, and I'll throw a quick plug out there. King Arthur has the other slot on Sunday night, so you get me on Friday and him on Sunday. He's at 9 o'clock on Sunday nights. So, but it's unbelievable. I love that slot. They're gonna have to pry me off it if they don't want to get rid of me. It's fantastic, and you know, everybody who knows me, so on the Friday night show, I play the hardcore doo-wops, but I play the best songs. I kind of have my own philosophy. I'm not, looking for the rarest song on the planet, because I kind of feel like if it was the rarest song on the planet, there's a reason for that.
Okay.
That's just my feeling. I play the stuff that people know, and I'll hit you with it all night long. And people are just like, whoa, 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 and they love it, and they tell me it brings back their memories. And how do I, once again, you're a young guy, how do you know this stuff? And on and on and on. And I get requests, and I don't just throw on any request. I filter it, and if it's something that's a good song, it doesn't have to be one I play, but it's got to be good, and I'll work it in. And I got a lot of people I shout out to all the time. And I had a second night, Thursday night. Actually, it started Sunday, Monday, went to Thursday. Then at some point I stopped it, and when I stopped it, they didn't have a replacement yet, so I was playing old repeated shows on Thursday night. Then when this whole thing hit, I figured it was a good opportunity to go back on live, and because everybody's home and they're feeling bad, and and I had a captive audience, and since I've been doing Thursday nights live again, I've gotten so many people saying, "Oh, thank you so much for helping us get through this." So it's been it makes me feel so good. And Thursday nights is a little bit looser in the format. I'll play your Neils and Connies and a lot of the single artists, and I'll work in there as well, not just hardcore group sounds the whole show. So and I'll be a little more accommodating on the requests.
So when you do this, I want to just ask you about this. So you also are live on Facebook talking to us about your show that's playing, right?
Yes, and unfortunately,
I know
they got all over us about piping the music through Facebook. So that had to stop. They kept cutting me off, and King Arthur, and I think probably yourself and a bunch of other people. But yeah, you know, I always tell everybody, put the music on one device, and then use your phone to check out my mug. You know,
Yep. I did that the other night. Yep, that's right.
I try to make it interactive. I try not, you know, you're not just watching me work. I try to, we go back and forth, and I have a lot of people that have been following for a long time that, you know, we have a lot of inside jokes and stuff going on. But, you know, I try to make it fun. And so hopefully if they're doing it right, they got, you know, doo-wop radio going on in the background or Sounds of Philly radio going on in the background, and we're interacting. So hopefully that adds to their experience. You know,
because the first time I saw you live, I'm saying, well, where's the music? I'm saying, he's talking about this music. I don't hear it. It's one of our mics broke or something's happening with a speaker. And you were like, no, Jar. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. So that's really cool. But, you know, I want to say something about everything that's going on with COVID, and people are stuck in their homes, and even people that are disabled that have always been stuck in their homes. You know, everybody talks about essential workers, and yes, I know who they are, and thank you for being an essential worker. But musicians and what you do, you know, and my shows, I mean, we've been essential right now. People are inboxing us and thanking us because they need interaction. We're born that way. You know what I mean? So it's really beautiful, and thank you too for also doing what you're doing. I mean that, you know.
And that's probably how my video interview show was born out of this whole thing. I said, you know, everybody's down, right? You know, the musicians are all at home, sidelined at the moment. Let's get them on. Let's get people learning about who they are. You know, maybe they don't know this person at all. Maybe they know them from their music.
Right.
But, you know, do they know where they're from? Do they know how they got into it? How'd you realize that you can sing? You know, I ask these questions and let people learn who they are as a person. Who is it behind? Who's the person behind the, you know, behind the music? You know, as that show used to be. You know, that's kind of what I'm. That's kind of what I'm doing. And then we work in some great videos and stuff in between to really, you know, this is who they are. This is Frankie Pizzaro. This is Dennis Dell. This is, you know, as you'll see, Mike Demore, the Arminios. The Arminios were great. And speaking of them, I talked to them last night. It was Joe Arminio's birthday, and I talked to them for a long time last night, and you know, they realize it too, and they do their kitchen show, and there's no messing around. They do full costume. They're like consummate professionals, even in their own kitchen. You know, nobody's hair is pulled back and caps or anything. They're in full costume, doing their thing. And, you know, I don't know if you've watched them, but you watched their,
how many people are
tuning in, like a couple hundred at a minimum. You know, hundreds of people are tuning into them. And, you know, like you said, there's people, especially in the oldies and the doo-wop world, you know, let's not sugarcoat it. These people are 75, 80, 80 plus.
That's right.
You know, whose spouses are gone, who's living alone, who's stuck in their house, who's disabled, who's what. And this is, you know, I have some friends on my show that are kind of part of my clique, because I also have like a chat room and all this other stuff. And there's people that are stuck in their houses all the time. They get like assistants to help them shop, or someone shops for them. And this stuff that we do, like you said, you know, we can't consider ourselves essential. You can't compare essential to the other essential employees, but what we do for these people is huge. And I didn't realize it. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was all about me. They were checking in that it was about them. And I was like, and it really brought it back to me, because, you know, like you mentioned, I'm spiritual as well. And, you know, this is a way for me to project the love, and it makes me feel good.
Yes.
You know, back to the people, you know.
Right.
Because it's a personal experience. And I think it's one thing that Don K. Reed told me in our interview, that it's, you know, you're even though you're broadcasting to, you know, maybe not millions of people in my case, but you're broadcasting to a lot of people, it's still a one-to-one relationship on their end. To them, it's you're broadcasting to them. You're playing a song for them. You know, and then when you actually call them out, you do a shout out to them, that's huge.
It's gold.
Yes.
It's absolute gold.
Yeah.
And you're right. You know, I mean, even you and I, you know, we usually do the calling out or shout out someone's name. And then when we hear our names, we're like, oh, wow. Like, okay, when you were interviewing Frankie Pizarro, well, thank you both for that shout out. I mean, you know, hearing my name out of Frankie and you talking, I was like, oh, thank you. You know,
Yeah.
It's huge.
It is. It is. You know, hopefully if my name gets used anywhere, it's in a good way.
No, listen, anytime I say it, I end up laughing, okay? So it's always a good way. It's always a good way.
Yeah. Yep. And I think, I'm trying to remember if, because I spoke to, you know, I interviewed, you know, Mike Diamore, as I mentioned before, recently, and that hasn't aired yet, but I think we may have mentioned you in there. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I think you probably did.
He loves you, so he probably brought you up before I even did.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
He told me last night you were interviewing him. I threatened him. I said, mention my name. You know how it goes with Italians.
Yeah.
So, okay, now, music with you. I'm going to ask you a couple things. Okay, be very careful how you answer it.
Oh.
So what'd you think of Elvis?
I thought Elvis was amazing. I thought, and you got to be careful because I'm going to tell it like it is. Okay.
Tell it like it is.
In the beginning, because I'm very keen on sound and singing. In the beginning, I thought he was a little more show than he was a great singer, and not because he couldn't sing. I thought he maybe hadn't learned how to sing completely yet. Now, with that being said, I thought back then in the early years, the Jordanaires helped carry him a little bit. I thought the Jordanaires could do nothing well as far as I was concerned. Right from the beginning, they were amazing on those early recordings, all the way up. Anywhere you heard them, like what's that song with the three parts to it? That Holly.
And what's his? And the Jordanaire, the one who's alive. What's his name?
I don't even know. Who's still alive.
Yes. I met him. I got to meet him about 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I said, "You touched Elvis, huh?" And he said, "Many times." I said, "Touch me, baby," and he did.
But he was always talented. I never thought that, the early stuff, he wasn't talented. I just thought when you look at, and maybe it's just a comparison, when you look at old Elvis and later Elvis, you can tell that he figured out his range and his voice and undoubtedly worked with people, experts. You're not going to tell me that he didn't have a singing coach somewhere.
Oh, yeah, we didn't care.
Yeah, we didn't care. But how amazing was his voice later on after that? Like, even in some of the movie songs.
How great thou art, but how great thou art. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
know?
Yeah. And so he was amazing. I thought he just learned as a singer.
Yeah, sure.
The pure singing part of it, he got better later. Yeah. But he was always great, and
he opened up so many doors for African American singers and so many doors in general. But as a note, like females back in the day, honey, even if he didn't sing, honey, we didn't even hear half the time. Okay, just saying.
And he was a Christian, as far as I know. He was a Christian.
Absolutely, he was a Christian. Listen, something about that, real quick. So I have an Elvis room. And I actually had a poker table. I'm a poker player. Poker table made an Elvis poker table. Someone made it for me from down south. Okay. I also made 2,000 poker chips, and even the guys that come over, it's purple and pink, are like, Joe, this is cool as hell.
What's your game? Hold'em? What's your game?
Hold'em. I'm also a dealer and all that. Yep. I had a poker league for like 10 years called Midnight Owl Poker in Mercer County, but even the guys love it. But anyway, having said that,
I'll talk later about it because I have an idea to do this online with multiple people. Poker.
Okay.
I think we can. Talk about it later.
Okay. So you know how they always said, Elvis said, "I am not the king. Jesus Christ is king. I am just an entertainer." Well, up until that point, I wouldn't put that photo up because I had the photo of him and then Jesus and him saying it, because I never heard him say it until one day a few years ago. I was listening to Sirius Radio, my Elvis channel, and I heard him say it. Came home and I put it up and I posted it, and I was like, Elvis said it. I heard it with my own ears. So that was beautiful. Jesus Christ is his Lord and Savior, and he is just an entertainer.
I'd love to hear that clip. Is it online somewhere? You think if I
it's
look
there. It's there. Yep. If you look it up, it's there. I heard it with my own ears. They were interviewing him. Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So.
You're Elvis Rum.
So who else? All right. Let me ask you this. Who have you met that you've always wanted to meet, and who haven't you met that you've always wanted to meet?
I'll be honest with you. I probably haven't met as many people as you think. There's a lot of people I still want to meet.
Okay.
I did Vito Pacone, of course, which he was amazing. We talked about some of his songs and stuff like that because I don't have a great voice for music, but I have an amazing ear. And we talked about some of the studio stuff and everything with him. I'm all into that. Let's see. So I told you I met Charlie Thomas. Unfortunately, too, a lot of the people I would have liked to have met are gone.
I know.
I know. I never met the Flamingos. What's his name that everybody knows? I shouldn't have said it because now I can't. I'm drawing a blank. And he was just on. It'll come to me. But I think there's way more people that I haven't met yet than I have. So. I'm hoping as time goes and, God willing, we're all here, they're here. I still, I'm still on a mission to meet as many of them as I can and get people on. So,
I'm smiling over here because Hamilton Radio is messing with me and they were saying some funny stuff about Elvis that no one can see, but I can see. Okay. On this, whatever this is called, go-to meeting thing. Okay. So, so funny. So back in the day, I was in my 20s, and Chubby Checker came to my town. It was called Heaven's Lounge. It was in a bowling alley on 130 at the time, and he did a benefit. Right. And he ended up coming out in this small audience, and we were standing. I had my back to the stage, and my friends said, "Turn around," and he was in my face, and he had his two bodyguards, and he picked me up and he put me on the stage, and I did the twist with him, and it was incredible.
Very cool.
So I was in my 20s. Well, guess what? Last summer I got to go backstage and I got to meet him again and hug him and get another photo with him. So that was really
Did he remember you? Did he remember you from the first time?
I told him and he smiled,
Very
Cool.
I mean, there's a lot of these guys that I know a lot of the people in our circle have met that I just haven't. I'd love to meet Bobby Rydell at some point. Frankie and all those guys. I just haven't done it yet. I just haven't gotten there yet. I'm a little newer to the game than a lot of other people are. So, it just haven't made it to everywhere yet.
So cool.
But yeah, definitely.
I interviewed Bobby Valley on Remember Then, and I'm interviewing him again tonight, actually. So that was cool. Frankie Valli's brother.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool. But what a ride. What a ride. So what else?
What else? So what else do you want to talk about?
Oh, I know what I have to ask you. We'll talk. And I want to talk about your nominee for East Coast. But before we talk about that,
I got yelled at for not mentioning that last time.
Yes. So wait, before we talk about that, the desk DJ thing. Tell us, and then we'll talk about Hall of Fame.
You keep saying that wrong. It's desk jockey.
Okay, DJ desk jockey.
An office puke. It has nothing to do with radio. It's like making fun of the fact that it's a boring office job.
Okay, but you didn't do some tapping on the desk?
Yeah, I probably did and got yelled at, along the way. Yeah, I've always gotten, I think I was always like a closet drummer. My mother always yelled at me at the dinner table growing up. I was constantly drumming all over the place. Right. I can still hear her voice. Stop with the drums. Stop with the drums. Even though I never played the drum.
Hall of Fame. Let's talk about it. Nominee.
East Coast Music Hall of Fame. Yeah, what an honor that is. I still don't know exactly who nominated me, but when I found that, I was thrilled, and it's definitely an honor. I'm in there with some big guns, and just being part of the conversation is a big deal.
Yes.
So, and being the rookie in the room, there's not much I could really I could say except I try to get people to vote for me, but other than that, But it tells me that I must be doing something right. I must have hit on the pulse of, like you said before, either it's the music I'm playing or a combination of music, or I don't have the prototypical announcer voice. I'm not. All right, here we are, and you're now hear Vito and the Elegant. That's not. I don't have that. I always tell people, maybe someday when I go through puberty, I'll have, like a real.
No,
a real,
don't ever do it. No, I have faith.
But,
Listen, you're going to get in. Listen, even if it doesn't happen, being nominated, created, clapping. That was in my speech for me. Okay, I made that little poem. But listen, you're going to get in. Our personalities, you and I, right? Yeah. We're us. We're goofy and stupid and fun, and we say it like it is.
That's what attracts people in, because they want the regular person. I mess up. I mess up on the air. Yeah, I mess up on the air. I laugh at myself. People love that. People love that stuff.
Yes.
They want to know you're a normal person, and then I'm not like up here somewhere elevating myself to some sort of deity. I'm your neighbor next door, hanging out with you with a beer, playing your favorite music, and I want people to feel that. I want people to feel like that.
I write my silly poems because I can't be that perfect interview person. So Tony, tell us about yourself. So you're going to get in. You are.
Well, from your lips to God's ears.
Yes, he's going to get in.
Yeah.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah. So and you know what? I'm hoping that they actually have the gala, because I'm looking forward. That's where I want to meet everybody. Everybody gets together and party, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Can outsiders come?
Yeah, sure. You go online and you can buy tickets. Yeah.
Okay. So when is that going to be?
I believe now they moved it. The updated date is now October 12th and 13th. It's like 2 days of events, right? So I think the first night is like a welcome. There's like 4 or 5 different things going on. It's like the welcome party, then they got, they do, in the next morning they do like the broadcaster, like Mike, where I am nominated, they'll do like those awards in the morning at like a breakfast. Then there's something in the afternoon. Then there's the gala at night, and they do like the legends and all that stuff and the performances. And then there's an after party. And supposedly, and maybe I shouldn't say this yet to make sure they don't change their mind. Supposedly, I'm hosting the after party with the Arminios. The Arminios are performing. Stiletto on the sax man is like, they have a million different names, however you may know them. Joey and the family, whatever you.
Yep.
They work under a bunch of different names, but the Arminios, I'm supposed to be hosting the after party with them that night of the gala. So that's that's October 12th. The 13th is the gala, is the last night. And this is Atlantic City, Harrah's Resorts and Casino. So looking forward to it. I'm hoping we have it. I think they will, but did I lose you? Am I the only one on? Am I now hosting the Jerry Petito show? I don't know if we're on the air, off the air. They're saying something? No, I can't do that. I'll make everybody leave.
What happened to Jerry?
I don't know. It's a good question. Am I still on by myself?
Yeah, you are. I don't know where she is.
All right, so right now I'm hosting the Jerry Petito show online. Hopefully Jerry comes back.
Oh, she's calling me. Let me see what happens. Hold on 1 second.
All right. Yeah. Too bad I can't add people. I would just add somebody myself.
Yeah, he's still on with me. She's calling me now, Tony. Yeah.
All right.
All right, she's gonna. Tony, how you doing? I'm Doc G. I'm actually the owner of Hamilton Radio.
Oh, cool. How you doing?
I just friended you on Facebook. You're talking my language. I met Bobby Rydell years ago. I've been always a 50s and 60s kind of guy too, and I love that music, the doo-wop music.
Oh yeah.
My one friend Joey Prout did the Sock Hop Soda Shop years ago, and I had him do. He did a lot of doo-wop on there, and
right.
I love doo-wop. I love it. I love the music. I love the oldies. I love the sound. I'm friends with Dion DiMucci in New York as well.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's another one that I'd love to meet, but I know it's like impossible.
He's
you know, I'd love to meet Dion someday.
Here she comes. Jerry, can you hear us? Jerry, can you hear us? I see a little bit of her face. I don't know what's going on, Jerry.
I'm talking to Doc G, Jerry, and I want to make friends with him because I may need him someday. Who knows?
Tony, I'm here for everybody. I tell that to everybody, but that's okay. Ruben is out doing things. Jerry, we can't hear you, Jerry.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
You're very pixely. Yeah, but you're very pixely.
Pixely. It must be the Wi-Fi connection
Hi,
for
guys.
you. We can see a little bit of you and hear you at least.
Hi. I don't know
Hello.
what's happened. Something's going on with my connection here. There's a truck outside.
We just lost you completely.
I lost you again.
Okay,
This is
can you
Tony-
hear me?
Can hear
This is
you.
Tony Dean, co-host of the Jerry Petito Show.
That's right. That's right. Tony Dean is co-hosting.
Hey, I was going to add people in. I was going to bring in guests if you didn't show up.
Oh, here. Can you see me now? Am I
Oh,
back?
yeah, you look great. There you go.
Okay. I think I'm on the other side of you. Now, host the show. Do you have any questions for me, Tony?
Jerry Petito, where are you from originally?
Long Island City, New York. Moved to Robbinsville, New Jersey. About 40-something years ago, 45 years ago.
Let me tell you, that's like moving from the center city Manhattan to like the cornfields of Iowa. So how did
We
that?
got cornfields.
How did that happen? How did that happen? Or why would that happen?
Okay, and it was cornfields. And to this day, the one side of our private road is still all cornfields. My dad's brother, he was a Marine. He met a Jersey girl, Carmine Petito, and he moved to Bresnahan Road in Robbinsville, built a home, and got my dad to move us. It was
Very
great.
cool. Yep. I hear a lot of stories like that. You know.
Yeah.
I think my family too came. Part of them came from New York and ended up in Bergen County, New Jersey, and my mom was out here in Morris County, and my dad was a drummer, as I told you, previously, and they met. My mom was had the stars in her eyes, meeting this drummer, out somewhere at a club, and pulled him out here. So.
So cool.
And so what made you get into this business? Were you always in radio, or did you do something else first?
Okay, so no, I actually owned a beauty salon most of my life because my Italian dad bought me one and made me do it. Okay. I'm an artist, I'm a writer, I'm a poet, and I have this funny picture on Facebook with a t-shirt with this kid, and I have my head on it, and it says, "It won't help if you move my seat, because I'm going to talk to everyone." I was in trouble every day of my life for talking. So
I have a 9-year-old to hear like you.
Listen, I should have done this a long time ago.
Yeah.
But Hamilton Radio, I got to say this. When my book was published, Doc G reached out to me. He started Hamilton Radio, and I'll let him tell you about that. Reached out to me. I had an interview on his daughter DJ Danny's show about my book like 4.5 years ago, close to 5 years ago now. And he asked me to do a show. And at first I was like, no, and then he kept asking me. I thought about it. I was like, why not? And the next thing you know, it's history. Other people got in touch with me and said, we'd like you to come along. I'm on 5 networks now, and now I'm in the Hall of Fame. I mean, it was all because really Hamilton Radio, I mean, I have to say, right? It was incredible.
The few minutes I talked to Doc G, sounds like a great guy.
He started it in his basement. Doc G, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Calling Doc G.
Tell everyone how you started Hamilton Radio and now about your partners as well.
Oh, sure. I started Hamilton Radio when my daughters were young. After I got out of radio years and years ago, I was in FM radio. I was in AM radio. I did weather. I did news, and I also did DJing overnight. But I fell in love with the oldies music, and my daughters growing up, 96, 97. I said, you know what? There's really nothing on the radio now. It was like all, garbage, and they really didn't know what they were playing. So I said, well, let's put Roy Orbison, a little Elvis, a little Beatles in it. and let me run my own radio station because I always wanted to. Because you get to control what you want, the content, you know.
Sure.
And that's pretty much what I decided to do years ago, and I just kept it going. That's pretty much it. I mean,
His basement.
Yeah, my basement,
Very
and
cool.
you know, I interviewed some people too way back, you know, years ago. But you know, nobody is, you know, like GERI does. And GERI does amazing as far as the people she gets, because you know,
and everybody knows her. Everybody I talk to, everybody knows her.
Yeah, well,
Everyone
that's
knows
good.
Jerry.
That's what we want. We want people to know us. You know, we want people to know us for good reasons, right, Jerry?
Yeah.
For
Great
good
reasons.
Yeah.
And now, tell them about your 2 new partners and tell them about the
sure.
amazing new studio we have.
Yeah, we have a brand
So
new
beautiful.
studio here in Hamilton, New Jersey. Actually, Robbinsville.
Was that the picture I saw? Was that the picture I saw before
Yes,
when we came
yeah.
up?
It
Yeah,
was.
it's beautiful.
It's
The
actually
picture I saw looks
two
beautiful.
studios in one. They're 2 separate rooms. But we also have a room that's a mixer room for all your shows. So we do the producing and everything like that for that. It's actually going to be a recording studio, but we ran out of room for that. So we had to, you know, figure out something down the road. But that's something else for another time. But we started it, and I merged with Ironhorse Films about maybe 10 years ago, something like that. And then we've been doing this for maybe about 6 years with the live studio. So the reason why I went to live studio, Tony, is because my wife didn't want, you know, my girls growing up didn't want celebrities to come to the house, you know, with my girls.
Understandable.
You know,
Yeah,
and
I have young girls too. Absolutely. That's
Well-
right. You know, Jerry wanted me to give my address out, my street address, my phone
No,
number on
not
the air.
the address. He lives in a town. I asked him for his fax for the poem. He tells me I-95, 78. I said, what is that? It's just a town.
Well, let me explain that. The reason I put that on, I gave you that, is because that's one of my taglines. Broadcasting
okay.
north of 78 in the Garden State is one of my
Oh,
taglines.
okay.
And it wasn't like I was trying to be cryptic.
That's so funny. But Gino, so
Yes, sir.
Ruben and Monk, tell them a little bit about them.
Yeah, well, Ruben started Iron Horse Films a couple of years ago, and the reason how we formed together is because Ruben actually picked my daughter, my older daughter, for a movie called Forgive Me Not. And I got my other daughter, DJ Danny, involved in it too, but she was a lot younger. And that was many, many years ago. But the thing was, I worked with a local cable company. I did switching for the cameras. I did camera work. I did you know, all kinds of stuff. So I volunteered my services to help him. And then years ago, we just formed that bond. I was actually in the movie
Very
too.
cool.
It was a low budget movie, but the point is, it was something that we based our relationship on, you know, and
Right.
about 10 or a little bit over 10 years ago. And so me, Ruben Rodriguez, and of course Monk, who's a great musician as well, he is involved with us. And so I'm happy with, you know, my co-partners because they're real down to earth people, just like I am, you know. Right. So,
Very cool.
you know, if you had to pick like a perfect partner for you, you would pick somebody that's like yourself. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
You know.
And I'm guessing Hamilton has to do with Hamilton, the town.
Yeah, see, I actually started the radio station years ago. It was called Sunny Radio, SUNERADIO.com. But what happened was I talked to a couple of my friends in radio, and they said, listen, to grab a hold of people in your local area, name it after your town. And I live in Hamilton. So I said, okay, we'll call it Hamilton Radio. And they said, oh, that's beautiful. But the problem is that the people in the Hamilton area never congregated to it. You know, they've always, you know, they listen to the FM radio stations and Sirius now. And now we're at a different time right now. You know, we've been #1 on main radio guides and directories for over 9-10 years. And when I got into business years ago, I had 50,000 listeners back in 96, 97. So loyalty is another key to keeping your listeners, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty the evolving of Hamilton Radio. That's how it got to where it is today. And you were mentioned by a lot of people all over the world because we would play the artist, but a lot of the stuff that you wouldn't hear all the time, like the off tracks, the longer tracks, the rare tracks.
Right.
And that's what people loved about us. And we still do. I still do the same thing. I do Elvis thons. I do, you know, four tops or the Four Seasons. But I play a lot of the stuff that you don't hear, and not just the hits.
Okay.
You know, the rare, hard
deep.
cuts. Right. Go deep. Because I want the people to know. Now, if you're a fan of the Four Seasons, right, there's a lot of songs that you know that a lot of people don't know about.
Right. I mean, it goes way beyond the first three that were #1 hits.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you've heard my other interview with Jerry, but I mean, you know, they had a greatest hit set that was, you know, 5 albums long of great songs.
I actually
I mean,
I have that box set. So yeah, I mean.
Wait, who are you talking about? What
Four
group?
Seasons.
The Four Seasons.
Four Seasons.
Four Seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Frankie Valli,
cool.
you know, I mean, the thing is, if you took every individual band, you know, and you looked at every part of them from the 50s all the way up to thing, they had more than 1 or 2 hits. But unfortunately, regular radio only plays them 1 or 2 hits. So we want to be unique. We want to be different. And we want to do what Sirius Radio, well, we've been doing that for years. So Sirius Radio has actually been copying off of us, but that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. But listen, thank you, Doc G.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah. Give you a little shout out there. So that's where it all started with me, Hamilton Radio.
Oh, and I asked her to do a show, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." I said, how do you know I'm going to be good at it? I said, Jerry, #1, you're Italian. You're good. You're already good, so you'll be fine.
I was like, I'm going to be nervous. He's like, no, you're not. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And then it was just history, you know.
Yeah.
And then let me give a shout out to someone, and we'll continue with you. So Brother O from Beverly Nation, he called in because his cousin has a show, Freedom Truth Radio, Vince Scott on Hamilton Radio. And I love Vince. So we did a show together, a couple shows, and Brother O, who has Beverly Nation, called in to say hello to his cousin, and that's how he saw me and then got in touch with me. And then, you know, and Michael D'Amore got in touch with Remember Then Radio and said, you need to get Jerry on, and they made an exception for me, which I didn't realize because I'm the only talk show host, and I'm also on other networks, and they don't really allow that. And they made an exception because of Michael, so a shout out to them. And they actually came live in studio to Hamilton Radio, Barb and Steve, for me to interview them. It was beautiful. So we're all like a family now. It's beautiful.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I think the whole industry, I think, is kind of getting tighter and smaller. You know, there's people that kind of haven't still the old kind of mentality of everybody's competitors, but I think some of the newer, you know, the new dynamic of being online and all that stuff, I think is kind of brought people in the industry together. You know, whether it be the promoters or the DJs or the acts, I think everybody's kind of getting tighter. So it's nice.
So what else do you want to talk about? It's your seat, baby.
It's my seat. Let's see. What can we talk about? Let me see. What can I ask you about? Let's talk about the book. I know you'd love to talk about the book. I want to hear about that read. So I can pick it up and I'll, entice me on what can I expect.
Okay, so if you give me your address, I will send you an autographed copy.
Oh, cool. All right. So I'll do that.
The book. I'm not an addict. I'm just an ass. I'd rather be a smartass than a dumbass. Because 29 years ago, I was a dumbass. But today, I can honestly say I'm a smartass.
All right.
Okay? So the reason why I did this is because I wasn't making fun of addicts. I was letting them know, make fun of yourself, smile and laugh, because you're being an ass. And you have the choice to not be one. Okay. I look at addiction differently. Okay, almost 30 years ago, I changed my life. I don't go to meetings, and I'm not telling anyone not to, because some people only have that as their support system. So please don't twist my words. God saved my life. God is all through this book. Okay, and yes, the word ass is in the Bible. It's donkey, okay? Because I've been challenged by Christians with that as well. Anyway, having said all that.
Hardcore,
Having said all that, I look at addiction differently. I look at it as it not being a disease and you are not powerless over it. It is a dis-ease of the brain cells while using, okay? Within 6 months to a year, you can alter every single brain cell that you originally altered through addiction back to normal. No longer have the cravings, no longer. Listen, I had that poker league. I was in bars every night. I wouldn't do a drug. Now I'm a nutritional health coach. I'm a recovery coach, a life coach, right? And I haven't had a craving in 28 years, okay? Because I changed everything about my life, my diet, food, sugar out of my life, because the brain thinks sugar is heroin. The brain can't tell the difference between sugar and drugs. So that's why 100% addicts are addicted to sugar. Okay. 100% of them. So anyway, if you change your life and give it to God, first of all, he's got this. Yep. He's got this. You got to change your life and your mindset and never believe you're powerless, because if you go through life believing you have this disease forever and you're powerless over it, that's what you will become. And that's what I want everybody out there to really understand. And that's what happened.
And without giving up, giving out too much of what's in the book, or you going beyond what you want to discuss, what can you tell us about the old life?
About
where you were, what the old life was like, where you were.
I'll do it in poetry form for you. I'll read the last poem, and I'm going to tell you I just revised my book. So actually, I will be signing those papers because I think it's completed as of tonight. So the revised edition will be out. Okay. Can you hear me? Wait.
Hold on, I just lost my. Oh, I got it. Yeah. I got it. I'm okay now. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, my monitor's just clicked off and came back on.
Okay. Did you lose me at all?
I'm here, aren't I?
I'm here.
You're there.
I'm here. I can hear you both, but I think
no. I can hear the whole thing.
Okay. Nope.
I lost my monitors. I don't know if anything else came off.
All right.
Okay, I'm good. I'm back.
You can hear me, Tony? You can hear me? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Everything's fine.
This last poem, it's called Change Your Choice, sums up me. Okay? I had a life-changing moment that I knew had to be. The only way to change things was to first start with me. So I looked in the mirror and woke up one day and thought to myself I needed to pray. So I asked God to change me, to help me stay strong, to clean up my mess, to right what's been wrong. I cleaned up my diet, I cleaned up my room, I cleaned up all habits with this old dirty broom. I kept going forward and never looked back. I refused to derail, stayed on the right track. I realized my worth and all that did matter through my selfish behavior, the lives I had shattered. I finally decided at 30 years old to stop abusing my body, my mind, heart, and soul. My life-changing choice that I had once made, over 29 years now, guys, my debt has been paid. You read all my thoughts on how to stay clean. It's all or nothing, my friend. There's no in between. To live or to die is a choice you must make. Your life is not worthless and you're not a mistake. One day at a time is a slogan you've heard. It works if you work it while applying his word. For you to get healthy, for your mind not to fail, escaping reality will keep you in jail. With addictive behavior, sex, drugs, food, or money, substituting addictions now, isn't that funny? I'm not an addict. This too shall pass. I'm not an addict. I'm just an ass. May the good Lord bless and guide you. So that sums it up.
Very cool. Very nice. Man, you got a flair with those poems, too.
I'm a poet, and I know it.
Now, have you written any poetry like books? Like, have you published anything?
Years ago, I was younger. I won a couple poetry contests, and I had a few poems published. But now, with the revision of this book, what I did was, because I made it very small on purpose so that the addict could fold it up and put it in their back pocket.
Yeah. That
was my dream. The first person I gave it to, I started crying without him even knowing that, folded it up and put it in his back pocket. I called my daughter. I'm like, you won't believe this, Ryan, blah, blah, blah. She's like, oh my God, that's what you've been saying, Mom. So now it's time to put all my accomplishments just from when this book was written, my radio shows, everything, what God has done, because it's important. It's important that the addict knows, if I could do this, so can you. 4 years later, look at what's happened just after this book was written. So, that book will have the majority of my poems that I've written are also going to be in the revised edition.
Right.
So
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Now you have, and again, don't give me any details, but you have kids and you have grandkids, right? What do you
I have a daughter who's 39 and I have a grandson who's 19 and a granddaughter who's 4.
Wow, 19. Man, your son's older, or your grandson's older than my son.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you started early. I started very late. Very late.
I had her at 20 and she had him at 20. Yep.
Wow. Okay. That's good. I mean, that's efficiency right there.
Yeah.
You know? You're not even out of your 50s yet, and you got grown grandkids. It's great. You know.
Beautiful.
That's very cool. Yeah. You know, so they'll have you for a long time. You know, you're not going anywhere. So
God willing.
excellent.
Yep.
Now, who are you looking to meet? You've met everybody. Who are you looking to meet still?
Well, since I could never meet Elvis, okay,
Right.
and I have met so many, thank you God. I would like to meet Priscilla, and I almost thought that was going to happen because Michael D'Amore calls me up a year ago. He's like, Jer, Priscilla's doing another concert. It's an ETA concert. Priscilla's going to be hosting it. She will be there on stage. Go right now online and get your ticket. So I call my friend. I'm like, 2 friends, husband and wife. I said, we're going to the show. I go online, 1 seat front and center, and then 1 on the end of the front and 1 behind us. I grabbed all 3 seats, and I told them, sorry, I get the front and center. Your wife gets the other front. And they're like, we understand you. I had a T-shirt made with Marion and Elvis's picture, and it said, I was interviewed by GERI PETITO on the GERI PETITO show, and I'm going to be front and center. Well, because of everything that went on, they had to cancel the concert, and they had to, okay, so it's not till next December. But here's a cute story about this. I am on the phone with Marion, and she's like, Jerry, Priscilla said to tell you. So Priscilla said my name, okay? Priscilla was like, what night is Jerry going, and where is she sitting? So I send her the diagram, and Priscilla says, that concert's canceled. She already got the email.
Oh.
And she said, so Marion said, Jerry, try calling Graceland too. And so I made these phone calls, and they were like, well, right now it's not canceled, but it was. But they were still selling tickets, the venue. But I knew it was canceled before anyone else. So I said, okay, but the seats stay the same. So in December, hopefully I'm going to get to meet Priscilla, because now she kind of knows me and she knows where I'm sitting, and I'm going to have my T-shirt on. And so that would be good. If I can meet Priscilla, I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
How much is, I know she had sold her interest in Graceland to like I don't even know if it was a public company, but or a equity firm, something like that. I know she sold out to somebody. How much is she still involved with Elvis?
I don't
anything?
know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. See, those are the things I don't care about. Like when I meet her, if I get to meet her, I'm just going to say, just hug me because you hugged Elvis. Like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Just hug me.
Very cool.
So,
very cool. Oh, nice. Now, as far as the Elvis sound-alikes, or the tribute guys out there, do you go to the shows? Are there any people that you tend to favor more than others? If you go, or if you like them, what's your take on that?
So back in the day when I was younger, I refused to go to any of them.
All right.
I do not like the Fat Elvises, and I told one off recently in Florida. About a year ago, I was at a show with friends who were in the show, and I didn't know if Fat Elvis was going to come out. And after the show, I went up to him and said, shame on you. And you're in the Villages where everyone loves Elvis. Shame on you. And he was like, well, everyone has an opinion. I said, yeah, and I'm giving you mine. So that was that. But anyway, over the last probably, I would say, 7 years, I've given some a shot. And I do like a lot of them. Okay. And now I look at it differently. I look at it that they're keeping Elvis's music alive, and ETA, I prefer that term as well. You know, Doug Church, one of the best. I got to meet him.
I personally think he's the best. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Sounding like him.
One of the best. Okay. I've got to meet him personally and hug him and all that. And, you know, so yeah, one of the best. But there's so many. Listen, there's so many out there. I want to give a shout out to Walt Sanders, okay, because I got to meet him. I went in February to meet him because he lives down south, and did a show at my friend's, the Lucky Leprechaun in Florida, through K&D Entertainment, Kathy and Donna, and Mayor. So I flew out and surprised him. It was an overnight thing. He had no idea, and surprised him because I've interviewed him so many times, and he does shows like sometimes 3 times a week, but he doesn't claim to be this impersonator. You know, he just does a tribute to Elvis, and he sounds incredible, you know. But yeah, so now I actually at least have an open mind, and I do love listening to most of them.
Okay. And does it make a difference to you if it's like one guy comes and does the whole thing, or if they do like the early Elvis versus the middle Elvis and
I love
the late
it
Elvis?
all.
You hear me that? Yeah.
I love it all.
Yeah.
I went to a show, and I forget his name, which is terrible. And I did get to meet him, and he does an Elvis show where he's the older Elvis, and then he brings on the younger Elvis, and then he brings on the gospel Elvis. And that's when I got to meet, this is from the Stamps Quartet. What's his name? Oh, my goodness. Anyway, I got to meet him. I forget his name, and I'm so sorry. But he was in the show, and I didn't even realize that it was him until the end of the show. So I waited until he came out. But he did a show with the gospel Elvis, which was incredible. The younger Elvis, and he was the older. It was incredible. As long as these shows show respect to Elvis, I love them.
All right. So what was it? Was it last summer there was a special that came out on him that Tom Petty was actually in quite a bit of? Did you see that? And did you think it?
The Wanderer, what was it called?
It was a 2-part. It was a 2-part.
Yeah. My daughter got it for me and all that. Yes. I had mixed emotions.
Yeah.
You know, I had mixed emotions.
I'll tell you what, if that's true to life, Tom Parker really did him wrong. The Colonel really did him.
I have mixed emotions about it. Yep.
You know, if that's the case, you know, I guess everybody has their side.
You know, right. So all I know is this, and this is what I say to everyone. Whenever anyone says, yeah, but, and they say anything negative about Elvis, this is what I say. Yeah, but, listen carefully. There's not a man that did what he did for the industry. There's not a man that came up the way he came up. Even black people's music, and my daughter-in-law's black, I could say this.
The race music, yeah.
Okay, my daughter-in-law's black, I could say, black people's music, look what he did for that. Okay, look at all the awards. I've been to Graceland several times. Look at his awards. Look at what he's done for people. Everything this man has done, the gifts and everything. So I don't want to hear it. I don't care. We're all human, and we all sin, and we all have issues.
What he's done for music, period. Yeah.
What he's done for music, period. And every artist will say that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's one of the people that, you know, even the Beatles looked to him as to be the beacon.
Beatles, okay?
That they measure themselves against him. Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, come on. The most beautiful man ever. Just saying.
Black Velvet, or whatever that song is.
Just saying.
And he got away with making his hair black the entire time.
You know? Yeah, that's right.
And it worked.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. You know, I have that 4-disc set where the albums are yellow, clear yellow. I don't know if you've ever seen that, and it's actually numbered. I ordered it.
I saw it online. I don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually was still a little kid when he died, obviously, and I ordered it, and I still have it. So I don't know if it's worth anything.
Crazy.
Cool stuff.
Cool stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now your daughter, your kids, everybody live kind of close? Are they
very close. Yeah, we bought them townhouse near us. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's just what Italians do. They weren't leaving. We all lived on the same road too. Oh yes, absolutely.
Very cool. And you have siblings in the area?
My brother.
No.
Yep. So my dad built his house 2 doors down from my uncle's house, and then we bought all the land up, and they bought all the land up, I should say. So all the cousins live there. My brother, he built his house next door to my mom. My dad bought me the house down the street, and I said yes to it because it was down the street, because I was always a little more independent, okay?
Yeah.
So, you know, And so we all grew up together, and we all 8 houses or so, and we're all on the same road, and it was beautiful.
And you like to cook, or you don't like to cook?
I'm a vegan chef. Of course, I'm Italian, love to cook, so I became a vegan chef. I'm now vegan. You know, I've been that for a long time. Yeah.
So I got to ask you the stupid question, the Italian
It's not
question.
stupid.
And I'm only saying this because I'm Italian, so I can,
Say it.
you know, I
already
can
know.
make fun of it. I can make fun of it.
Make fun of me.
Is it
Come on, the meatballs. Go ahead.
Is it sauce or gravy? Is it sauce or gravy?
Okay,
for you?
it's gravy.
All right.
It is gravy. What is it to you?
For me, it is sauce.
Okay.
But I got family members that it's gravy. I got a
so
lot of
there you go.
Bergen County that are gravy.
There you go.
But I call it sauce.
So there you go. Well, Lenny Gatto, I'll give him a shout out, okay, and my friend. So the Philly Elvis, Nick, okay, so he did a play. Lenny wrote it. They call it gravy. We call it sauce. That was the title of his play. Well, you know, that poem destroyed him. Okay, that poem destroyed him. Okay, and the Philly Elvis played in. It was amazing. But, you know, I got the T-shirt made and, of course, made fun of him that night. It was great.
I remember as a kid, I remember seeing a commercial for one of those plays, and the lady's like, "I'm not hungry, I'm just going to pick." And then the whole commercial's her eating like a gavone the whole time.
Yeah, crazy.
I don't know what the play is. It's like one of these, making fun of it, the Italian thing, yeah. So,
Italian.
cute.
So,
cool.
So what else do you want to tell everyone about you? Tell them on the website again, how to get in touch with you, do all that again.
Yeah, all right. So again, I'm one of my shows, I'm probably known the most for Tony Dean's Doo-Wop Cruise, which is on doowopradio.com. Pretty easy domain to remember, and that's Friday night, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on doowopradio.com. You can download the TuneIn app and just look for Doo-Wop Radio or through the website directly. And then I also picked up, and this is only about 6 months now, it's called the Classic Soul and R&B Review, and it's primarily the 60s and 70s R&B acts from the pop charts. Your Motowns, Aretha, the good stuff from the 60s and 70s, your Manhattans, when you get into the group sounds from the 70s, the whole Gamble and Huff stuff from the Philly sound, all that, some of the girl groups, and that's on Sounds of Philly Radio. And from there, you can either download the TuneIn app and go to Sounds of Philly Radio. It's a globe with headphones on it. Or there's a Sounds of Philly Radio app itself that you can download. One of those two is probably the best way to listen to that. And that's Wednesday at 1 p.m., Saturday at 1 p.m., and Sunday at 8 a.m., all times Eastern, of course. So, and that's a good time. And I realized, I think I told you on the last show, that after 6 months of doing that show, there was a space for that. And I think that genre was needed, and, God willing, if, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, the doo-wop kind of sees, I don't know, its better days or whatever, then, we move on to the next, we keep it all going.
Next phase. The next phase.
Kinda, people like us, right, we're a little younger than the doo-wop people, then we have a responsibility. If that's what, if we're true to it, we'll do everything we can to keep it going. So.
Right. Even little kids don't know Elvis, baby. So maybe we'll move on to an Elvis and Friends show. Or we're not allowed to use Elvis and Friends. I found that out because.
Oh, really? How come?
Okay, so I did a show, a birthday bash for me a few years ago, and I had all ETAs there calling in live, and even Doug Church called in for me, and it was great. I had different impersonators in the studio. Oh, what a show! And it was in Hamilton in our old studio. But I wrote on our ETA as an Elvis tribute artist.
Oh, okay. I know there's a Bud Spencer for.
Yeah. So it was in our old Hamilton radio studio, and I wrote on our board Elvis and Friends show. Oh. And I got the call from Ron Cade, and he said, Jer, you can't use that, it's copyrighted,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, but we're friends now. He wished me a happy birthday in March. I love him. But yeah, it was so we can't say that.
Does it have to do with Elvis Radio, or is there like a show that someone puts on with that? Where's that being used at?
I'm not
You know?
sure. I'm not sure. He might use it as well. He does. I think he uses it, Ron, the Elvis and Friends show.
All right.
Okay, which is cool. He's been doing it forever, keeping Elvis alive, forever.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, so okay, so real quick with you about Elvis. So once in a while you'll throw a little Elvis in there.
And I did. I last Thursday night, I think it was. I did did I do Little Sister, or I did one of the early six fast ones. I don't know if it was Little Sister. I think I may have did Little Sister.
Okay. What's your favorite Elvis song?
Tough call. If I Can Dream, maybe.
Okay, that's an incredible song.
It's tough. It's a tough call.
Well, I have categories because I could never say what's my favorite Elvis song. So I have categories. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So of course, the best gospel ever. How Great Thou Art. Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Yep.
Don't Be Cruel. One of the funnest songs. Okay. Listen, the sexiest song ever. Such a Night.
Really? Okay.
Hey, he breathes heavy at the end and everything. Are you kidding me?
All right, I gotta listen to that again. All right.
So that song you can play and dedicate to me, okay?
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. One of the songs, I know you don't like negativity, and I won't even mention the song. One of the songs, an early one, which doesn't have anything to do with Elvis directly, has the worst guitar solo in the world. The song's not bad, but I don't know why they even bother with the guitar solo because it's god awful.
Okay. All right, you'll tell me later.
I'll tell you off. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a few more minutes. It's up to you when you have to get off. We have until 5:30 for me, but it's up to you and whatever you want to say, whatever you want to talk about.
What would the GERI PETITO Elvis shrine look like? You have an entire room for Elvis, which means you have some stuff.
Okay, but I thought, but talk more about you, but I'll tell you that, okay? So everyone, it's really funny how everyone who knows me thinks she needs another Elvis gift.
Right.
I don't have any more room for any more Elvis gifts, but that's pretty cool, though. All right. But over the years, it was amazing. I mean, all the great stuff that I've acquired and really beautiful, cool stuff. But the shrine is in my garage, and it's my poker room. I'm whispering because I don't want my neighbors to hear. So I even built a wall. So when my garage door goes up, you see a wall with a doorway, so they don't see what's in there. Right. So this beautiful, I told you, beautiful pink and purple Elvis poker table made, and I have the walls covered with gorgeous Elvis stuff, and all the stamps, I framed all those, and I have Elvis money that's framed, and just beautiful, different things, unique things that mean something to me. My daughter found the poster of his concert that he didn't make it to. She found that at a flea market and brought that to me, and that's hanging up.
Wow, very cool. Yes. Very nice. I love stuff like that.
And of course the tickets in a frame in that room, and just beautiful stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah. Now this poker thing is like co-ed? Is it just a lady?
Co-ed.
What do you do? Yeah.
I gave it up a couple years ago because online poker came back fast and furious and destroyed us. Because we don't play for money in Jersey. So it was for gifts and stuff. So, we had a long run. It was beautiful. It was awesome, co-ed. But now I still, of course, run games, not real money. Yeah. I run games, and I still have a blast with it. And I'm in 3 leagues. So I still play about 3 times a month. So.
Okay. That's cool. Very
Texas
cool.
Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play by myself with an old handheld game that was my son's. Has it on it, so I do the electronic version of it. I haven't had the nerve to play with people yet. But it's cool.
So what else about you?
What else about me? Let's see. So I told you about my family, and I told you about. Did we talk about my stepfather on here?
With the poem a little bit. With the poem, go ahead.
Yeah. So my stepfather Nino is the bass on Who Put the Bomb, the song and the album. There's an album Who Put the Bomb, and most of his group, known as the Web Chords, did pretty much the whole almost the whole album, the backgrounds on it. And the story goes that and actually I was corrected since the last time we talked. It wasn't the lead singer. They were set to do their own album with Don Kirshner, and they were going to do Will You Love Me Tomorrow. Was supposed to be their single, supposedly.
Oh,
and
beautiful.
Within days of recording it, one of the key members of their group left, and he was sort of like the leader and the guy who kind of bridged their sound all together, and it just deflated the whole thing. So he had his 15 Minutes of Fame on the Who Put the Bomb album. So
Who Put the Bomb in the Bomb Ship, right? Forget it.
yeah, yep.
Yeah, I love when you do that. Oh, I have a question about bass and bass. Okay, hold on. So,
right.
Bass player, that's the guitar, correct?
Yes. Well, yes, and singer is also bass. Or
What's
baritone.
bass? Is there bass other than in Fish? Is there bass in music?
No.
So it's always bass.
Yes, unless you're talking about baseball, then it's B-A-S-E. Yes.
All right, so wait, because I'm going somewhere with this.
All right.
So why wouldn't they spell it B-A-S-E anyway?
They should have, but they don't.
Because a man made the word up.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Fiction. I think about weird
One
stuff.
word, many meanings.
Fiction
Yeah.
and nonfiction. And then we'll get off that real quick. The word fiction. Give me one word of what that means.
Fiction. Fictitious.
So it means fake. If you
Yeah.
look it up, it says fake. Fiction means fake.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as not fake. So they made
Right.
fiction meaning fake. A man made this word and the definition. Nonfiction meaning not fake. Stupid. Fiction should be real. Nonfiction should be not real. You see where I'm going
Yeah.
with that? So the same
Yeah.
thing with bass, because it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Because my brain wants to say bass, and I have to remember it's not spelled that way, Jer. Okay.
So imagine somebody whose first language is not English having to learn that and figure that out. You know, they say that English for people who it's not their first language. English is supposed to be a very difficult language to learn, from what I understand.
I wonder why.
Because it's you know, it's bastardized from it's a mixture of a bunch of other languages, so there's no one set rule. You know, like if you've learned any Spanish is pretty straightforward, right? But English, it doesn't, you know, you'll have this word and this word are very close in the way they're spelled, but they sound completely different. You know, like the rules are broken all over the place. So, but,
like when my Rocky impersonator, John Monforto, he's incredible, the greatest Rocky impersonator out there. Okay, the Philadelphia mayor labeled him as the Philadelphia Rocky impersonator.
oh,
Like
good.
he does a whole skit on the word, you know, yo,
Yeah.
yo versus yo versus
Yeah.
yo. It's so cool. But anyway, I just had to say
Yeah.
that. So
It reminds me of what was that? Who's that comedian? Maybe he's still out there. Don Myrera. You ever heard of him? He does
I know
the
the name.
Italian vowels and all that thing.
Oh yes. So cool.
Yeah, I haven't heard him in a long time. Maybe he's still out there. I don't want to, you know, do his career.
So
if he's
cool.
still playing. I
Oh,
just
yeah.
haven't but yeah.
So
good
what
stuff.
else about you do you want to close the show with?
What else about me? You know, my faith is important, as we talked about, and you know, I'm in this for the, you know, as far as the career goes, it goes. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm here to do what I can. You know, like I said, I'm glad, and I was shocked how much it means to people, and that was probably like an awakening for me. You know, I learned that when I started on radio, but then this whole epidemic thing really ramped that up and really showed that. And I get emails all the time, and I read them to my wife, and it just blows me away how much something that I consider, I don't want to use the word insignificant, but something that, you know, you think is just, you know, it's just my show, it's just my job, that it means so much in someone's personal life, you know. So that's great, and it makes it even that much more satisfying, you know.
Right. Well, Tony, I want to thank you. I want to thank you on so many levels. I mean, what you're doing on live for everyone out there again. So that's so beautiful. I enjoy it. Your personality. Okay, we connected instantly. two silly Italians, Christians. Yes. So when all this settles down and we feel like we can be back to normal, I'll bring you live in studio and you'll co-host and we'll do some fun stuff. We'll have some guests, entertainers with us. We'll have a great, fun show.
I want to come visit that brand new studio, man. That looks
well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I just said. Yes. We'll have you live.
Come anytime, Tony.
Yeah. It'll be so cool.
Tony, we should work together somehow.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So thank you, Doc G. Yep.
My
so
pleasure.
I want to thank Hamilton Radio for this really cool meeting thing, go-to meeting, whatever this is. Thank you, Hamilton Radio, because this was so cool. Yay, and I did it. All right, we had a couple glitches with this one, but even you had a glitch, Tone, on your end with your speaker. All right, so it worked out great. Guys, I want to thank all our listeners, right? All our listeners. Share this show. This is so cool. Share this show, right?
Yep. Thank you again, Jerry Petito and Doc G and Hamilton Radio for having me on. I had a great time. I always deal with Jerry no matter what we're doing, but this was fun. This is really fun. We had a good time.
Thank you.
I'm laughing. We're having laughs. So.
Tony Dean, everybody. Tony Dean. DJ Tony Dean. Do WOP.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Shut you off Facebook right now, guys.
All right.
And the recording.
Thanks, Doc G.
Oh, you're welcome, man. Hope you had a good time, Tony.
There's